And you need to be ready to go. I can't spend a long time getting you ready. You need to be ready before we start. So this is the way things work these days, very efficient because we have to get a lot done with a lot of people. And it's going to be changing more in this way. So when I start recording, it becomes telepathic. And this means that what is taking place in communication is not between your brain and your body and my brain. That's not what we're doing. You have bodies you're running in the other planes below the void. Emotional is astral, mental is mental plane, causal is causal, etheric is etheric, and these all influence your intelligence and your ability to know things here on earth through the body that doesn't live that long, 80, 100 years, whatever it is for people, it's not normal. So we have to get through all of that misdirected brainwashing on many levels in order to get some real benefit accomplished. So when the recording starts, it becomes telepathic. Telepathic is not psychic. It does not work with the positive and negative energies at all. The hue, the omnipresent power that we are comprised of as Atmas, does not work with psychic energy. That's for the body personalities on the various planes that work with a positive and negative stream. Usually people get trapped and caught in it, thinking good things for the family and themselves, and fearing the present and future at the same time. It divides the consciousness ability of the Atma to circumnavigate the universe and grounds it on Earth. And it keeps it grounded there as long as people are unwilling to demonstrate the courage they have to return to the source, to become the conscious co-creator with that source, which is their only destiny, their true purpose. Unless we're going about doing that on our lives while we're awake, once we cross paths with the hue, we are wasting our time. The hue works through direct experience. The omnipresent first sound, divine spirit's not a good word for it. It's all tied up with religious brainwashing and nonsense. It doesn't call itself that, and it doesn't like to be worshipped. It keeps people stupid on earth, lifetime after lifetime. Tyrants love that. They love to keep people unaware and under their control. Our job is to ignore that control by not adding our attention into it. And then we start to work ourselves into freedom. There are a lot of other beings that work with me in this way that obviously have to spend the time and make themselves present for your benefit and other people I take on these journeys. People on earth are so caught up in themselves they don't really stop to realize what's involved. But there is a lot of beings that are involved. Of course, we work with them outside of Earth's atmosphere because they don't have subconscious minds. They can't do their work effectively in an atmosphere so polluted, so negative as the one Earth has. People would just stay re-stimulated by subconscious fear and primary implant stuff and attack or challenge or fight anything that challenges their brainwashing. So we don't work on Earth in this way at this time. That would be, in fact, a waste of our time. And a waste of people's time on Earth that wouldn't get anywhere. Obviously, that kind of thing hasn't gotten people anywhere in many millions of years on this planet. It stays the way it is. Now this has to change. It changes in groups, one person at a time, and then eventually in groups of people, and then in thousands of people, then millions of people, and billions of people. It's all being supported by the omnipresent power, the one living energy. And it doesn't have time to waste on nonsense with people, petty people, greedy people, or any of the petty stuff that mindlessly brainwashes people on earth. It does not have time to fool around with any of that. It works with people when they're ready to move forward. This is always the truth. So it really comes down to being our responsibility to choose to move forward further when we will. Then the hue responds, reciprocates, so to speak. One thing that I know from the omnipresent power itself, and the source of that power, and the source we come from, and all the master teachers and silent mentors, is that they don't want to spend their time working with anyone, anywhere, that cannot keep what they gain from these journeys. Without that, it's a waste of time. This just takes the individual waking up enough courage, which they already have, they don't need to earn it in the future, acknowledging it in themselves and choosing to move forward despite what was done to them, who killed them, who ate them. We end up stopping revenge and all the negative emotions because we're aware enough to choose that. And when we do that, the lifetimes of reincarnation and stupidity and unconsciousness begin to come to an end permanently. This is what we're all after. We are not now, nor have we ever been, a physical body on any planet in any level. Those are genetic entities, biological machines that evolve over time, basically brought into existence and tested by the Say-Rays billions of years ago. They're just forms that have a higher nervous system that Atmas can run. Now, people on Earth have been made completely to forget all about this. And all they've got is faith and belief that some outside personality says is true, more than anything else, for money and power over people. Governments and religions have always worked together to see to it that the status quo remains where it is, so nobody wakes up about anything. Live and die and come back and live and die again. The people doing this that are world leaders, religious leaders, are even more trapped than the people they pretend to lead. So we want to give all that up. When a person has the courage to realize that what they've been believing in for millions of years, if not billions, has not gotten them free, they begin to move in new directions, and not before that. The hue is the omnipresent first sound behind all creation. Always was, always will be. But it's unbiased and unprejudiced. It does not find favorites. It does not reward celestial divine gifts on people, spoiled people, brainwashed people that would go up into a higher reality and ruin those realities with their childish, irresponsible, lack of experience characters. This is not the way the upper realities work, ever. Which means most people on Earth and what they believe, because they don't think they have to do anything, it's all done for them. Some savior did it for them, so they don't have to do it. That's only to get money out of people. It's not for any other reason. It's just power over people. Has to do with taxes and all that stuff. What one learns on these journeys is that there is no such thing out there among the stars and other dimensions. Any religion represented on Earth is not represented out there. They do not exist off this planet, out among the stars in the higher realities. There's no Buddhism or Hinduism or Christianity or Muslim faith out among the stars, none whatsoever. This is one of the saddest things about people on Earth, that they have no clue. They think this is God's little elite planet of people. It is not. It's one of trillions on many levels. And the greater God is out there, not on this planet, this pathetic planet. Fear-driven, subconsciously backward, misdirected people, which it is. They would have already annihilated themselves if something had not intervened. Call it grace if you like. Something new, or they would have allowed the people here to destroy themselves again. One of many times that people have been wiped out on this planet in its 65 million year history. When you daydream, this is not coming from the brain at all. When you imagine going to the store, your body follows, gets in the car and goes where you imagine. Or it doesn't do anything at all, go anywhere. If you imagine going to Australia, you have to picture being reunited with people first, and then your body will, you figure out, you'll get on a plane, you'll go there. But this is not being generated by the brain. Imagination or daydreaming does not take place in the human brain at all. It is a function of the Atma that's running that body, the spherical being, made of an energy that is indestructible. It's not made of lower planes of time and space or matter or DNA or molecules or atoms or any of it. The energy out in space, that to us is a white golden light, that little billions of little galaxies float in, that it supports. That one power is a living energy. It is not atomic or nuclear. There are no atoms in space out there. Some dust, some clouds, nebula, but the basic energy that's behind it all, vastly larger than the little things that float in it, creating little electromagnetic fields that surround these spheres so they can float in another energy. The electromagnetic field is made of the hue as well. The same field surrounds each Atma so it can float in the omnipresent power and journey on it anywhere it sees to go. There are no limits to the speed of light or gravity or wormholes. There's no limits whatsoever in the movement of an Atma within the omnipresent power. More advanced races have figured this out. They know how to work with that one power that is not atomic or nuclear, that does not obey the laws of physics, in order to power their ships, in order to learn secrets to get around the universe, which does not ever come from the study of atoms or DNA. It comes from studying the energy that's behind it. Earth people have barely come out of the Dark Ages to understand there is an energy behind all matter they call the God particle that doesn't observe the laws of physics, and it has characteristics that they don't understand, can't comprehend. So when we go out of our bodies, all you're doing is daydreaming it. You just imagine what it would be like to be near the ceiling looking down on your body. Just as easy as you imagining going to the store. What's the difference? None. So when people tell me they can't see things, and then I say, did you just see to go to the store today? Did you know how to go see your son? Did you know how to do this? Yeah, I did. Could you see it first? Yeah. I tell them it's the same thing. The rest is an implant talking to misdirect them. In your case, because Dantium and Lamtium are standing beside you, and Shantil and Tonaltail are standing behind me. This is an energy form that looks human. About 6 feet tall, long hair to their shoulders. Slightly bigger eyes than Earth humans. It's made of energy. It's a projection from the white core of the Atma that they are. They are hovering as spherical beings near the ceiling, showing you a body form that looks to be about 36. Perfect, flawless. The male, totally handsome. The female, beautiful. And you're hovering near the ceiling as an Atma between them, Inez. And you're showing them a body about 36, perfect female, beautiful, just like them. When implants are turned off, This is something we all do to show ourselves to each other in a pure form. It looks human, but it is not. There's no DNA, no molecules, no atoms. This is how we actually function and operate in the universe, in the multiverse. When I send out the hue, I'm doing it on a number of levels with people I work with from off-world. They do it out in space, I do it from Earth, but it's connected. Implants cannot be removed ever by anyone on Earth, no matter what they believe, because they're implanted and they are inside Earth's negative atmosphere. This is not possible at all. We have to get out above that atmosphere. And then friends from out of town who do not have subconscious minds or implants, have never been born on Earth, do the work of guiding people into seeing what's in these things. The purpose of this journey, there's only one purpose. That's to help you see at least 3 lifetimes that were yours long ago, that were free of the stuff you suffer from now, had higher genetic human or humanoid form on worlds millions, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago, out in this galaxy. Just 3. And no war, no reptilians, no greys, no abductions. None of that was going on in any of these 3 lives. That's why they were randomly selected by people who would implant them so that you cannot access these higher awarenesses and higher IQ and higher intelligence and higher understanding you once had down. Some of these bodies you can live in for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years, before voluntarily leaving one behind, turning it dust, and going on to another. This is stuff we did in the past, Inez, already. If you don't remember any of it, doesn't mean you didn't do it. It just means you don't remember any of it yet. I'm going to send out those tones, and Torelli and others that are master teachers are doing it with me. As pure energy forms out in space, in the pure hue that has no negative nature, people cannot go out of Earth in a spaceship and walk in a spacesuit and dump negative stuff into that omnipresent black area they think is black, because human eyes can't see into a high enough frequency to see it. The Alpha does, though. Human eyes on Earth, twin-stranded DNA, cannot see this. So it appears black to them. Even if a photograph shows it, the human eyes will still see it as black. It's unfortunate, but scientists know that is not black energy. It's not dark. It is a white golden light. It's powerful. It's omnipresent. They know it, even on Earth. So they call it toroidal, or zero-point energy, the energy of the universe. They coined the phrase the God particle from studying particles being shot at near the speed of light, crashing them into each other, which is rather stupid, in the CERN supercollider in Switzerland. They don't know really what it is. They don't know how to access higher dimensions. They know they're there, they just don't know how to get to them. There are classified scientists on Earth that are not yet talking, but will, who understand extraterrestrial races have been coming here, have been denied talking about it with anyone, even their fellow PhD scientists that are not classified. It's been going on for 70 years and is now in the process of having disclosure take place this last year for the first time. And this is being done because if they don't do it, it'll be done for them without their assistance on Earth. The only way we can save people from destroying themselves here, because they most certainly would otherwise. When I send out the tones, it's opening a doorway from the upper realities above the void, and Satnam's involved. In recent months, he's been coming down the lower worlds and just standing observing what we do. He never did that before in 200 billion years. This is new. Time and space, as we think of it on Earth, don't exist above the void, nor do planets and suns and moons and stars either. We come from there. So it only makes sense that we should be able to remember that at some point, and then begin to finally fulfill our purpose for existing. And this purpose is to become a trustworthy, conscious co-creator with the source behind all life. There is no other purpose. That's it. This is the way that a portal or doorway is created out of the hue between space outside of Earth and above the void, beyond the lower worlds of time and space, so that a higher form of the hue can come down and mix with the hue that we have present in the physical universe. It's more powerful this way. It's channeled down through Satnam, through Terrellian, and it creates an energy oval of energy around us that's a brighter hue than the one in space around us. So we get plugged into source energy on such journeys. When you daydream seeing your body sitting there, lying there, from hovering near the ceiling, you're seeing also in front of yourself as the spherical being a form of a body about 36, perfectly beautiful, female about 36, and you have Dantium and Lamtium standing beside you, up there near the ceiling, showing you perfect forms, handsome and beautiful, about 36. Now this you easily do because your implants, whatever they are turned off. Your primary implants turned off. Your secondary implants that took the form of crystals years ago were turned off, and you will see that in a minute. But you were not shown the lifetimes they were keeping you from seeing. These are fantastic lifetimes. No war, no negativity, no reptilians, no grays, no implants, long ago that you lived already. So when you imagine being this above near the ceiling, you suddenly find yourself at 10,000 feet in the atmosphere. And those two beings are still hovering beside you. You can see down through the roof of your house and see them hovering beside you near the ceiling. Both places at the same moment. We are multidimensional, capable, spherical beings. That is what soul is. People on earth don't have a clue to save themselves from hell. To remember, that's what they are. They always think in terms of their physical body being some image of the form of God or the Supreme Being. It is not. This is not what is made in the image of the source. The spherical one is. People call it soul without understanding the first thing about it. So when you're suddenly in space, standing in a circle of beings around Ambassador Terrellian, who's 18 feet tall, showing you a body that looks like a Greek god, blonde hair to his shoulders, big blue eyes, kind of ivory-colored skin, little white dress on to his bare ankles, holding his two thumbs up with closed fists with a whiter golden light around him than the hue around us. He's showing you a physical appearing form that is made of energy. It is a projection from the white core of the spherical being he is, hovering above it. And above him is Eta and Din, hovering with their tails glowing, standing upright on their hind legs, waving their little fingers with a thumb and four fingers like a human. Atma's hovering above them, and above that is Satnam. Standing way up in space, and high above him a vortex leading to the Atma plane, beyond the void. So there's a white golden light coming down through that opening, down through Ambassador Turellian, through the form he's showing you, out his hands, creating a much higher form of the hue, out in space, where there's no negative nature. The hue in space has no negative nature programmed into it. You can't program it with such things. Atmospheres contain atoms and oxygen and matter and DNA and RNA and molecules and atoms, like the sun, atoms and hydrogen and all that. The hue that these worlds float in is not made of such things. It's not nuclear, it's not atomic. Out in space, you can see the white golden light of the hue surrounding us everywhere. The Earth and its barren moon, orbiting the planet without turning on its axis, no atmosphere, and our single sun is apparent. There's the polar ice caps on the oceans and land masses. And you need to stay awake, Inez. You need to stay awake, Inez. You need to stay awake. Inez. Inez. You need to stay awake as an Atma. Put the body to sleep, but stay awake. Listen to my voice. You're standing in a circle of beings out in space. I don't know whether you heard that or just went to sleep with your body. But you are. And this most important point is that you leave the body asleep with your head up, because you can do that. And then you can explore these 3 lifetimes. So you don't want to go to sleep for this. That's being lazy. Don't do it. The bodies, just leave it alone. It can go to sleep and you can stay awake. This is what you'll have to learn how to do. Very important. Dantiam and Lamtam standing beside you here in space are on each side of you. I'm further to the right in a circle around Turellian, and Shantiel and Tonaltiel are standing beside me. There are Master Ramu in the orbit around Turellian near the Earth, and Opelum further out in space. There are other Master Teachers here in that circle, who, when we're done, will go up with Satnam to the Hue Expansionary Academy to serve a session in teaching facilities. And they'll be rotated out and others rotated in from all over the multidimensional creation. What they're doing is turning this physical form that looks like you about 36, which is pure energy, and has eyes so you can objectively see what's going to happen. The Atma you are is hovering above this energy form. The Atma they are is hovering above the energy forms they're showing you. The one I have looks to be about 36, handsome, looks like Captain Calum in the Emerald Doorway 100,000 years ago, basically. Only better looking and a little younger and more vital than even he was. So, when they turn you around and show you space, there's a spaceship out there, just one. 30 feet across in diameter, blue-gray metal tall, a thin electromagnetic field around it, 3 semi-spheric pods on the bottom. You can see right through the hull of the ship. There are 4 couples in there. 2 are in a little lounge with a pillow behind them, apparently asleep shoulder to shoulder, with their heads dropped to their chest. And you look to your right and left out in space and you realize That is Dantian and Lamtian. The three other couples are busy manning the ship, running the controls. They're all aware of what they are as an Atma, and yet they run bodies that are immortalized. It means their telomeres do not shrink when their cells divide. They have four-stranded DNA. They are hundreds, sometimes thousands of years old when they come here to do this work. They have no subconscious mind. They do not work with negative emotions. They did not grow up on Earth. They were never implanted. This is why they do the implant work, and not me. I'm perfectly capable and trained and experienced to guide people to see what they can no longer see for themselves. At least to give them a basis of understanding of what to utilize to see how to go to other planets and other dimensions, to begin to remember they once knew this stuff well. That's what these guided journeys are for. When they show you this space and you see the Atma, you are hovering, I don't know, 500 feet out in front of you, out towards that ship. And you can see a field of energy around it, electromagnetic field. It comes out the south pole of the Atma. It's not in the Atma. It circles way around the outside of the Atma and comes into the north pole. It looks just like the electromagnetic field that surrounds the planet Earth. They look the same. Those fields are made of the hue in a form moving from pole to pole so you can float in an omnipresent field of power. Planets and galaxies do the same thing, so do Atmas. Except Atmas aren't molecules and atoms like galaxies and planets. They're part of the energy that supports all that, which is what we are. So they're showing you these three oval foot-wide spheres of light connected by a white shaft of light that is turned off. It was turned off when I took you on the secondary implant removal journey years ago. But you were never given the opportunity to see the lifetimes they were keeping from you. Because those lifetimes were randomly selected. They selected lifetimes that were wonderful, far more evolved than you are on Earth, lived for thousands of years, part of the Galactic Alliance often, sometimes before the Galactic Alliance was even formed, even millions of years ago. And so when we're looking at this, they're moving you, Dantian and Lamtian are moving you, this physical pure energy form that looks like you, about 36. It has eyes to see out here. You don't need to breathe. You don't feel heat or cold. They're moving you up into this oval sphere, 2/3 of the way out in the electromagnetic field that surrounds outside the outer layer of the Atma. That's where implants are. Secondary implants. They contain torture and death and intimidation that were turned off for you a long time ago. The primary implant was not. But you had greater control over it after that, maybe perhaps without realizing it. Nevertheless, now we're going to go in and look at these lifetimes. So when they move you up, holding your arms, they're moving this energy form of you that looks to be about 36 right up into this field. And then with one hand palm up, one male, one female, they reach in and lift this oval sphere of light out. The shaft of light that's turned off between them vanishes and disintegrates into the hue. And then your face starts to go into what is inside it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to guide these kinds of things for every individual personally. 3 lifetimes per person times millions, it's quite impossible. So you're fortunate that you're getting this update. Plus, as these lives become revealed to you, you will have access to the higher intelligence and brilliance and be able to bring some of that back to the life you live on Earth, make you smarter, sharper, more insightful. You'll be able to comprehend these things effortlessly. As your face moves into this light, you begin to see a trinary sun system. It means you're out in space above a world. The world is 4 times bigger than Earth on average. It has 4 planetary bodies circling at a different distances the size of Earth. There are no polar ice caps. This is on a planet near the galactic core. The same spiral arm that Earth is, that's 2/3 of the way out on that spiral arm. There are 7 in the Milky Way galaxy. It's not in the core. It's not near Zetronomy 1. It's a little further out, but it's close. There are 3 suns, a big blue, giant, white hot, blue hot white star, a young sun, another blue one smaller, and another blue one further off, even smaller. There's more combination of suns nearer to each other near the galactic core than what you know of out on Earth. There's one sun. What you need to understand is that the Milky Way galaxy, and scientists on Earth know this today, most of the stars out there are binary or trinary, 2 suns or 3. They're not like Earth with 1. The nearest star to our solar system is Alpha Centauri, and Alpha, I don't remember the other one, but anyway, it's a binary sun system. The closest one to us has 2 suns. Smaller one revolving around a bigger one, and planets revolve around them. Now this has an effect in the atmosphere of planets, so they do not have polar ice caps. The temperature stays about the same worldwide. North, south, east, west, doesn't matter. Beings that grow up on those worlds, are born there, have much higher IQs, much higher DNA forms. They don't have telomeres that shrink. They don't have subconscious minds. Most of the planets in space, the beings that travel the stars don't have that problem, like people on Earth do. And when you look down on this world, you see it's water covered, no polar ice caps, 3 continents centered over the equator, about 1/3 of the width of the planet. And when you look at the ocean, which is a greenish color, it's glowing. When you look at these continental land masses and see mountains, and you focus your attention closer to the mountain like you have a telephoto lens, you can see waterfalls and rivers. They too glow 1 foot above the water. That means that this planet is highly charged with the hue, because H2O can hold a great amount of the hue. It's piezoelectric. It's neither positive or negative and can be utilized either way or to store a great amount of information. It's also a telepathic medium. So you're looking at a world 3.5 million years ago. There are many associated world systems that work together, several 100 million at that time, that weren't called the Galactic Intervention Alliance of Free Worlds. That was started 500,000 years ago, mostly inspired by Master Opellum, the encouragement of Ambassador Trillian behind him. Long time ago. The Say-Rays as a race immortalized their bodies over 1 billion years ago. So they had a big hand in bringing genetic forms like this up to spacefaring capability, and then they vanished to see what we do with it. Consider them agents of the source or prime creator. Their mentors are the silent ones. And so they are extremely advanced. You're looking at this planet. You find yourself moving down through the atmosphere. Dantium and Lamtium are beside you. I'm going with you. I have Chantil and Tonals beside me. Satnam's coming with us. I don't know why. He usually doesn't, but he is this time. And Trillian, just for fun. And you see yourself descending down to the center of this continent. And there's a massive 5 or 6 mountaintops, snow-covered, but very, very little snow at the very top. They're not glaciers. And then they have these waterfalls cascading down their sides out of cavern openings. They're flowing down through like a fan in many snake-like directions from the mountains out to the ocean. But all the waterways are glowing. The green emerald glow like the ocean. And you're going to land on a beach that's golden sand that's glowing. And you're standing there, and you are looking at, as an Atma, a feminine form you had that looked to be about 40, trim, perfectly beautiful, just standing there in a sheer kind of bathing suit. Had a little Galactic Alliance. That's not Galactic Alliance symbol. It's a spherical galaxy, but it has a pyramid above it, but not the 3 blue stars. So he obviously worked for a world organization, very large, 3.5 million years ago, and your body's about 7 or 8 feet tall, maybe 8 feet. It has ivory brown skin. It's brown that looks almost like an ivory color sheen to it, like moonstone. Your eyes are pink and oval. The ears round with a little point at the bottom. Your hair comes up in a big bush and flows down your back, which is a blue-gray colored hair. You're in bare feet, wiggling your toes in this glowing sand. It's coming up your spine. You look up smiling, goes right into the Atma in the core of your being, because you know you are the Atma running this body then. You knew it. You didn't have a subconscious mind. You weren't implanted. And you're looking out at this glowing ocean. There are 2 people standing beside you of this same humanoid race. They seem to be older than you. Maybe 50, but perfectly handsome. Now, those are your parents. Well, they're over 2,000 years old here, while you're several hundred. You were already a scientist. You're a biologist in a sense, someone that studied the evolution of species as genetic entities that Atmas could run. And you were helping the Say race back then to develop higher forms. Humans that are on Earth today originally had 4-stranded DNA, not 2. That was stripped from them to control them, to have short lives at 100, when they lived 800 to 1,000 or more than reptilians. They live 800, so they got a little jealous, and it all goes back in galactic history. There were no reptilians affecting you or in this life at all. That came much later. And so you lived there for almost 9,853 years. On a planet called Querental. It means source energy in the language of the race you were here. And you were studying that source energy as it applies to biological entities. But on that world where you are now, these 2 people standing beside you is a creature coming out of the ocean. Several of them. Walking upright. 2 legs, 2 arms. They look like creature from the Black Lagoon. Beautiful big green eyes. Scaly skin. Fins between their fingers with sharp retractable claws and feet. The Atma's hovering above them. Now obviously they can breathe underwater on land. And when they walk up to you and sit down, you sit down with them, you start having a telepathic conversation. These are beings you've known for over 1,000 years. This is their world. You're visiting. And these were a great love affair between your race and theirs. They were also and are also part of the Galactic Alliance today. But they were not back then. They were also scientists, and you learn much from their understanding of biology. As creatures that normally live under the ocean or in the ocean, but also have land dwellings as well, behind you on that beach. rectangular buildings with clear crystal dome tops, and spherical buildings. You're visiting. The respect for each other as Atmas was aware, fully aware in this lifetime between you. Then you find those creatures are called Shanrans. 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 You'll get it in the recording. That's just the way they refer to themselves. These are also a race that has Say-Ray's DNA in them, just like this race you're at on this planet. Just like the human one you're running on Earth has Say-Ray's DNA in it also. That goes back several billion years. Humans are a very old race, not new at all. They didn't evolve on Earth. You find yourself out in space, coming out of this oval sphere of a secondary implant, and this lifetime had no negative nature. Dantium and Lamtium are now disintegrating it. He's pointing his finger at it. There's a white light that comes from it. It dissolves it, and then it becomes part of the hue around us. The memory of the open doorway into this life, however, is now one of the teardrops turned out in the blue layer. And you have access to this. This was one of your former lives. You couldn't see. And with the secondary implants in the way, when they were, you couldn't see it at all to save your life. So this is being given back to you now, this one life, randomly selected to be implanted. They always select lifetimes that are wondrous and beautiful with no negative nature, where your higher intelligence is focused in order to shut that down and keep you from it. Now they're moving you over to the right side of the electromagnetic field that surrounds the outside of the Atma, not in the Atma. They're moving your face up to another one of these oval foot-wide lights. And as you begin to merge into it and you're going into the experience of it, you're on a dome city on the bottom of the planet Oceania itself. There are many world systems run by the Oceanians out in that part of space. It's on the other side of the galaxy, in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. It's just like the Lemurian Atlantis is on a planet that doesn't flip its poles. It's in the third higher parallel dimension above where you know of as Earth. So you're now in a dome city at the bottom of the Oceanian Ocean. And you are walking through an energy screen in a horseshoe-shaped opening at the base. And you're able to walk right out of this energy field and into the ocean. And then you notice that you have beautiful, pale blue skin, green eyes, jet black hair down your back, in a sheer-fitting, form-fitting swimsuit. About 35 years old looking, but you're 400 or 500 years old there at least. And you are swimming out in the water. You got little webs between your fingers, between your toes, and you're just breathing and swimming through the water like a fish. Then a group of 4 drens, mature adults, hover toward you under the ocean. They have their tails glowing. They don't breathe underwater, so they have little helmets on. And they're just flying up to you, and you're having a conversation with these two males, 2 female drens that you knew very well. You are also a scientist there. 500,000 years ago, on this planet, one of hundreds out in the Oceanian world system, you lived over 8,500 years there in one body. Oceanian bodies don't age anyway, basically. Their telomeres don't shrink. They have the highest form of crystalline-based science. They know the sound frequencies to turn off and on telomeres on the DNA. This is ancient for them. No big deal at all. And you're sitting having this conversation telepathically with these beings, and they're delightful. You've known them for a very long time. You were part of a scientific group back then that helped them evolve drens to a higher telepathic, vocal cords, and intelligent form. You worked with Dom. He's a very old scientist, even though he looks young. So you were this, way back then. Died at the time that the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds was beginning to be formed by the encouraging energy of Master Opellum to a Galactic Alliance Council that was forming. Then you find yourself out in space, coming out of this over white oval secondary implant thing, which was turned off some years ago. And this time, Lamtiam points her finger at it and disintegrates it. Becomes part of the greater white golden light around us, and then you realize that you have access to this doorway for this lifetime. And you can step through it and explore it further when you wish. There's nothing holding you back from this now. And it will bring a higher IQ and intelligence to you on Earth. Now they're moving you around the back side of the atom, out in space near that ship. And they're turning you around to face the back part of the electromagnetic field that surrounds the atma. And there's this last one, white one. And as you move into it, this time, they place one hand, each male and female, under both of your upturned palms, and you reach in and pull this one out yourself. Co-creatively take part in it, actively. And you bring it up to your face. This is a pure energy form with eyes, so you can see and smell and taste and all that. But you don't have to breathe, you don't feel heat or cold. This is pure energy. And you go inside this last one. You're on a planet 250,000 years ago, out in a spiral arm, opposite where Earth is, and the other third opposite where Oceania is. Halfway up that spiral arm is a planet. It has a trinary sun system around it, 3 planets the size of Earth circling it, no polar ice caps. The big one's 4 times bigger than Earth. There is a big blue-white giant hot star, a big yellow one hovering, and a red dwarf hovering around that one, smaller. And you're looking down on this planet and you realize that it has what's called, it looks like a pink, golden, glowing ocean all around the planet. No polar ice caps. There is a land mass, small continent in the northern hemisphere, one in the southern hemisphere, and one on the other side of the planet. We're going down to the one that's in the northern hemisphere, like where the United States would be. It's completely surrounded by ocean like Australia. But it is green and fertile, a long mountain range in the center going from the right ocean to the left. Another one crossing it like a cross, north and southern ocean. There is domed cities quite large in all 4 quadrants. We're going down to the one in the southeastern quadrant. You're flying down there on a, well, it's hard to describe. It looks like, well, it's a Galactic Alliance disk. It's like in the Emerald Doorway. You're grounded gravitationally to it. You're a woman about 40 looking. You're actually 780 years old in that life at this point. But you don't age there. The body has green skin, kind of reddish purplish eyes, little green pupil, smooth ears closer to the skull, no hair, naturally bald, little longer earlobes, beautiful. And you're moving on this disc, which is glowing about 3 inches above it, so you're gravitationally grounded to it. You fly it telepathically, so you can loop through the air and fly through the air and do circles. And you're not alone. There are 2 associates of yours, one male, one female, flying beside you. There's 2 women and 1 man. You all have a Galactic Alliance uniform on 250-some thousand years ago, with the silver pyramid, the 4-sided golden pyramid, the 3 blue stars above the quartz top. You're in single 4-fitting blue-gray uniforms. Even the footwear you slip into and slide it up over your shoulders. It's made of a material that can protect you from cold and heat and radiation from the 3 suns. But in here, your genetics, you're not vulnerable to anything. The atmosphere is well shielded. So you're flying these disks down towards that continent. You want to land in that city, that dome city, on the southeastern quadrant, the mountains, in like a right angle, right? And the dome is right there. And you're going to come down and land on a little 3-foot wide blue disc, about 4 inches thick, and all 3 of you have one. 12 of them surround a bigger disc, which is for landing Galactic Alliance scout craft. There's bigger oval ones for longer craft. There's a 300-foot long cylindrical craft, which is described in the Saber's agenda inside the hollowed-out interior of Mount Shasta in Northern California, already landed. When you get off these discs, they hover above this little blue disc landing platform. The outer ring lowers to the landing platform, and then it shuts off and you step off of it. This is old Galactic Alliance technology. It's not new. Fun, but more for pleasure than anything else. These were around long before 100,000 years ago in the Emerald Doorway book, where Caleb, Maylene, and all that, and the Drens are introduced. Master teachers like Ramu and Opelum, Admiral Starland, stuff like that. So you're going to walk towards a fountain in the center of this triangular-shaped courtyard. There's a fountain on each corner emitting a different colored light. They are blue stone scalloped edges like the one you'd find in Satnam's realm, but these are bigger. And in the center of those 3, one's blue, one's gold, one's red. It's a reddish light, but it's very uplifting. It's pure physical plane energy in the form of the hue. So you're going to this fountain, in a triangular fountain in the center of it. And you're walking up to it with your 2 associates. There are little golden cups on little hooks on the side, each corner of this triangle surrounding this fountain, which has a golden white light in it. You're using the cup to take a drink. You don't put it to your lips, you pour it down your throat. Put the cup back respectfully. This white golden light, which is pure you in this energy world. This world is charged. Its oceans glow. The waterfalls around the mountain range you can see coming down into rivers that surround this dome city are glowing. They're charged with the hue. These are normal worlds. Earth is not. Not at all. Not anymore. Never really was. Not yet. This goes up through this form you have, this humanoid form, and into the Atma, because you can all see this. You notice that there are some animals trotting towards you from a river and from the forest trees that are glowing. And they're trotting towards you and up to you. And they look like, almost like an ostrich with bigger wings. And they don't have claws on their feet like a bird. They have a toe and 5 toes. Big toe and little toes. And they have 2 arms that have regular looking hands. It's an ivory colored skin. Beautiful feathers that are kind of rainbow colored. And they come up to you, and there's an Atma hovering above them. They're called Cyphors. The planet you're on is Non-Strela. Non-Strela. It means, how do I describe what it means? The union of the hue between what you would call human, as an Atma really running that human form, and Atmas running forms you might call animals on Earth. But you don't refer to them this way here. These are real beings, highly intelligent, even more intelligent than you. You're both scientists. You're greatly fond of each other, and so you embrace. You hug the neck of this long ostrich-looking character with big blue eyes. And then they talk to you with vocal cords. And they speak to you telepathically, and you laugh. And you're overjoyed to see these beings. That's a long time ago. No war, no trouble in that lifetime. Probably had the equivalent of 10 PhDs by the time you were 10 on this Galactic Alliance world system. You contributed to the understanding of the mechanics of running spacecraft well beyond the speed of light, even to other galaxies. You were not only a scientist in working with electrogravitic fields, but an engineer as well for designing equipment that can channel the omnipresent you through their devices. That was then, Inez. Now you find yourself in space coming out of this lifetime. This time, you're pulling your face out of this oval thing that's been turned off for some years. And they ask you to send the hue into it. It comes through Satnam, hovering by above Eta and Din, down through Ambassador Trillian, now through Ambassador Trillian's hands, through you, through me, through Shantial and Tonaltial, Dantiam and Lamtiam, and through you. And then these two, this couple on each side of you, send the hue into it as well. And your hands close around it. It disintegrates into little pink silvery particles of light, vanishes into the white golden light around us, and Dantiam and Lamtiam start giggling and jumping around. They knew the implant was turned off, but you didn't have access to the lifetime, which was wonderful. And now you have access to it. It is turned on in the Atma you are. The perfect human woman form about 36 is aware of it. That is a projection from the white core. So all you need to do is respectfully thank these people that volunteer to do this with you. And then find yourself hovering near the ceiling, Dantiam and Lamtiam beside you. Still projecting to each other this perfect, handsome, beautiful, two women, one guy, form about 36, and then you look down on your body. The electromagnetic field around it, people on Earth call the aura, which is a big electromagnetic field, not little collars close to the body, as they think. And there are no white implants in there. It's completely clear. The primary implant is a pyramidal shape, golden-sided, four-sided with a crown quartz top. It hovers above the north pole of the electromagnetic field of the Atma, near the ceiling, and below, pointing downward, the southern pole. It is turned off. That contains a life of death and torture, a real life that puts you on Earth with no memory. That one takes a little more time to look into, although you're protected when we do it. You will co-create the time and place for that. Because now you have freedom to control whether you indulge in looking into that thing or turn it off. When you have fear of the present or future, all you need to do is hue into it, or simply go and listen to the hue thing at my website for free. Or just go look at a butterfly or a horse or a waterfall, and it will turn off. You realize you have more volitional control over this now. And when you're ready, you'll be sitting in a white chair somewhere, a white seat. And with the help of very advanced beings, you will look more into what's in that life. Some of it you already know. When the time comes for all of us, what we call the subconscious mind will be removed altogether. This is part of working into mastery. What these beings are concerned with is that you, when something's given you, when something awakens in you, that you do not waste it. That you realize that this is a one-way ticket that cannot be reversed. You can never be implanted again, for one. Many of the higher faculties of awareness you had as a co-creator with Source long ago are turned off or suffering some form of self-induced amnesia out in those layers of teardrops that go back billions of years before you were ever implanted. You're back on Earth. They're still hovering beside you. The energy comes through you from the ceiling, out through your body, through the pineal gland, out into the electromagnetic field. It keeps on moving. It moves through you for your benefit, and then continues out into the world, all the way through space, and back into the galactic axis, the core of the galaxy, and back up to source. So, henceforth, this continues to move through you for your benefit, on its way to benefit others. You become now a co-creator with the source of all energy, and it is going to train you into mastery. When you go beyond this life, it will not stop. It's a one-way ticket. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And you can unmute or turn on your microphone. That's good. You there?
Yes, I am.
How much of that could you remember seeing? I know you almost you did fall asleep there at the beginning, but it looks like you hung in there the rest of the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Could you see what was in those lifetimes clearly?
Not exactly. I felt more than I saw.
Oh, you saw everything I described. Don't kid yourself. That's horseshit. You saw it all just as well as you see going to the store and you get in the car and go there. Exactly the same. That's a primary implant talking. You've indulged in it all your life. It's bullshit. You saw everything clearly. You have to let yourself have it. This is up to you. Implants aren't in the way with your ability to see and know things when you're out of body. You're too used to thinking your eyes are this doorway of real sight. They are not. They're limited to the atmosphere of Earth, or in a spacesuit out in a ship looking at what you can see that appears black. That is gold and white light. The Atma can see. A body's vision on Earth in twin-stranded DNA is extremely limited. It is not designed to see that stuff. As long as you understand that, you'll be perfectly fine, Inez.
Thank you.